Hello, fellow English students. Welcome to English Language with Teacher Nick. I'm Teacher Nick. I'm so glad you could join me. Today, we're going to take a test together. I will give you some tips on how to take tests. We can talk about some of the differences between test English and real English, and I can also share with you the answers to this practice test. There is a reading section, there's a grammar section, there's a vocabulary section, and there's a writing section. I will give you my tips on each of these sections, but first, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. For the first time on this video and all the videos in the future, I have made a PDF study guide for this video. Click the link in the description or follow this QR code to get to my Substack, where I have links for every single study guide that I make, including today's video. In the PDF, you will find the practice test and a study guide with some of the English vocabulary and grammar points that I will talk about in this video lesson. We're going to get right into it. Hit pause, go download your PDF copy of the study guide and the practice test, and I will start right in with the reading comprehension section. If you are ready, I will read one sentence at a time. Pause the video and practice reading aloud yourself. First sentence. Many people in our town spend most of their time indoors, either working in offices or relaxing at home. Second sentence. To help people enjoy nature again, the local council decided to create a community garden. Third sentence. Anyone can visit the garden and grow their own plants. Fourth sentence. Volunteers help keep the space clean and offer advice to people who are new to gardening. Let's move on to the second paragraph. First sentence. The garden has become very popular. Second paragraph, second sentence. Families enjoy spending weekends there, and some people even grow vegetables to use at home. Third sentence. The council hopes to create more green spaces like this in the future. Did you read with me out loud? Remember, it is important to practice reading out loud. So if you haven't yet, press pause, rewind, go back and practice to read out loud some more. When I read a reading comprehension section for the first time, I want to think of key words. A key word is a word in a question or in a sentence that tells you what that question or sentence is about. Keywords are going to be different for different people. Look out for what is important to you when you read a paragraph or when you read a question on a test. Learning to see keywords takes time and it takes experience. You will have to read many sentences, answer many questions, take many tests before you start to see some of the same keywords as other English speakers see. We are going to reread the reading section, and I will highlight some of the keywords that I found. When we read, it is important to remember that we are writers. What do we like about what we read? How can we use what we read in the things we write? It is important to develop the different skills of language together. Otherwise, you get out of balance. We always want to practice reading out loud to practice our speaking. We always want to practice writing to keep that part of our English exercise going. It's a muscle. It needs to be exercised. You need to use it every day to make sure it will get better. You also need to use it every day to make sure that it doesn't go away. Reading as a writer just means pay attention to how English writers write, because you are now an English writer. In the first sentence, I see a couple of keywords. Let's read it again and see what keywords you find. Many people in our town spend most of their time indoors, either working in offices or relaxing at home. The first key word for me is indoors. Indoors means inside a house or inside a building. Many people will work indoors, then they go home, and that is indoors. Another key word for me in the first sentence a little bit earlier is spend time. In English, we spend something that we use to get something and then it is gone. That's what spend means. So we spend money, we spend time, we spend effort. If you are getting angrier and angrier, you might say, "You're spending my patience." Another key word for me in this sentence is something that we should all remember when we're learning to write and to think in English. The sentence says, many people in our town spend most of their time indoors, either working in offices or relaxing at home. Either working or relaxing. Either indoors or outside. We've got what's called a duality. Duality means you set up two opposites. This is an important device in English speaking. We want to try to give the reader some idea of what we're talking about. So the best way to do it is to compare it with its opposite. The next sentence says, to help people enjoy nature again, the local council decided to create a community garden. Community is the key word for me here. Community means all of us live close together. We see each other. We don't necessarily have to like each other, but each of us plays a part in a greater whole. Different jobs go in and feed the community, house the community. Different personality types make us laugh or make us cry. It's important that we get different types in a community to keep the community strong. A community garden is a place where people can garden as a community. The next key word is another couple of sentences down. It's volunteers help keep the space clean and offer advice to people who are new to gardening. Volunteer. A volunteer is someone who says that they will do the thing. And usually it means that they are not going to be paid and they're still going to work, give service. Volunteers serve their community. To keep something adjective is an important thing to understand. To keep happy, I might have to exercise. I might have to eat right. I might have to avoid thinking about bad things. I might have to do things differently. To keep, noun, adjective. Offer advice. I think it's interesting. Offer means to give to someone and let them say whether they want it or not. And I think that's an important expression in English, that we offer advice. We also give advice too. To offer advice is the same thing, but we understand that you can only tell someone what you think they should do, and it's their choice whether they do it or not. Offer advice. Keyword for me in this sentence. In that same sentence, we talk about volunteers offering advice to those who are new to gardening. So a person, a thing, or a place, a noun, can be new to another noun. You are new to English. English is new to you. I am new to YouTube. YouTube is new to me. What is new to you? This is a new year. Hopefully you can learn about something new. The next sentence is, the garden has become very popular. The expression has become means it was one thing and now it is the new thing. This person has become a man. That person was a boy and right now has become a man. The final keyword for me was in the second sentence of the second paragraph. It reads, families enjoy spending weekends there, and some people even grow vegetables to use at home. Some people even grow vegetables to use at home. I think even is a very strange word. It means two things line up. They're even height. It means the second number, right? It means numbers that end in 2, 4, 6, 8, or 0. That's another meaning of even. But this meaning of even is the strangest. It shows that I don't think you are going to believe what I'm saying. It emphasizes by saying, I think you're not going to believe this. You aren't even going to believe this. Some people even grow vegetables. It's an interesting way of framing it. Before I move on to the reading comprehension questions on any test, I always make sure I understand what the reading comprehension part is about. If I don't understand the reading comprehension part, I won't start the questions. Read the essay for the test one time to pick out keywords, to try to understand the words you don't understand, to figure out what it means, and then read the section again. Make sure you really get what's happening in it. Then you move on to the question section. You'll feel a little bit more comfortable about answering questions that you see. When we look at multiple choice questions, that is a question on a test that gives you 3 or sometimes 4 or 5 different choices for the answer, there are ways to use the questions of the test to find the answer, especially in a reading comprehension test. There's 2 methods that you need to know when you're taking tests. The first one is process of elimination, which is a fancy way of saying if something can't be true, it's not going to be the answer. Usually in the answers given, there's going to be at least one answer that is not possible, that doesn't work. Another way to look at the question and find the answer is to match patterns of words from the questions in the answer. We will go through these 3 reading comprehension questions and think about both different ways to answer. Question 1. Why did the council create the community garden? Possible answers are A, to teach people about healthy food, B, to help people spend more time outside, and C, to attract more tourists. The first method I talked about, we find the bad answers and take them out. A, to teach people about healthy food. It doesn't really talk about healthy food. It talks about being outdoors. It talks about growing vegetables to eat at home. But it doesn't really talk about whether food is healthy or not. So A can't be the answer. B is to spend more time outside, and C is to attract more tourists. I think it could be C, but it's really more about B. And the way I know that is the second method. The second way we look at a question and then look into the text of the reading to find the same patterns of words. The second sentence of the reading says, to help people enjoy nature again, the local council decided to create a community garden. In there, you have the same phrase, to help people enjoy nature. Once you see that in the reading, you will know that's a good clue that maybe that's the right answer. Indeed, to help people enjoy nature can be the same thing as spend time outside. The same word in the question, the same word in the answer, we probably have our answer. It must be B. The answer is B. Let's look at the second question. Question number 2 is, who can use the garden? Let us try to find the answer. The first possible answer is only people who already know how to garden. The second possible answer is only families. And the third answer is anyone in the community. A is only people, B is only families, and C is anyone. Those are 2 very different types of answers. The first type of answer limits all the others, so only this and only this. And then the third type of answer is an open door. It says everyone can come. That is the idea of a community place, a place where everyone in public can come. So we can already get an idea of how to answer this question. The third sentence shows exactly where we can find the answer to this reading comprehension question. It says, anyone can visit the garden and grow their own plants. We know that the answer to the second question is C, anyone in the community. The third question is, what is one benefit of the garden? Now, a benefit, if you don't know, is a good thing that we get from something else. A, people can grow vegetables. B, it is open only on weekends. C, visitors must pay to use it. B and C are not benefits. Growing vegetables is a benefit. Having it not open at a certain time is not a benefit. And having to pay to use it is not a benefit. And neither of those things are true anyway. So the answer is A. How did you do on the reading comprehension? Let me know in the comments below. The next section we will talk about is the grammar section. In the beginning, we used keywords to highlight what the reading section was about. We figured out what words we didn't understand. We also looked at important words in the piece to let us understand the meaning of what was happening in the reading comprehension question. In the reading comprehension questions, keywords let us pinpoint the right answer by finding the same keywords in the reading section as we find in the test answer. That's the way we used keywords up till now. At this point, especially when taking tests, we're going to try to find the keywords that the test writer wrote to tell us the right answer for the test. And I know that sounds kind of strange, but that is how it works. Let's take this first question. The first question is, if it blank tomorrow, we will cancel the picnic. Now, if is a conditional statement. There are a lot of rules to understand about conditionals. There are so many rules, we can't really talk about all of that right now. Conditionals in English are very complicated and have a structure that can be hard to remember, and you will have to practice them to remember them. I will do a special lesson on conditionals in the future. It's a very important form to learn because that's how we talk about regrets. That's how we talk about dreams and wishes. It's a very important form of English we need to cover. For this video, we're only going over this one question. I will cover conditionals in a future video. If you can't wait for that video, I have written a lot that you have to know in the study guide where it explains the forms that you use in different cases. So let's go over this first question right here. If it, and it could be rains, rained, or is raining. The key word in this question is going to be after the comma in the sentence. It says, we will cancel the picnic. The conditional form for this will say, if it rains tomorrow, we will cancel the picnic. That would be present tense, simple present tense, and future tense if we expect that something might happen. That's how we say it. If it rains tomorrow, we will cancel the picnic. The answer is A. There are a few different ways the conditionals work, depending on how we feel about what we're saying. Memorizing all of grammar as a rule structure and using it in conversation are two very different things. It is okay if you are better at one thing than you are at another. In this case, if you were to memorize all of the conditional rules, only one of them has the future as the second part of the if-then statement. The only form that would use the future tense uses a simple present opener. So if it rains, then we will cancel. The second question, we blank in London for 5 years before moving to Spain. Now, this is a grammar test. We're trying to figure out which one do they want us to say, because really Two of these answers are okay when you're speaking in natural conversation, but only one of them is going to get you the correct answer on the test. So what is the key word in the question that gives us the answer to this? We blank in London 4 or 5 years before moving to Spain. That means there's a length of time, and then there's a time before it that we did it. The grammar for this situation is going to be past perfect. The key word in this case is before moving to Spain. That will tell you that you want past perfect and the had instead of have. That's why had lived is correct. Now, the interesting thing is in conversation, we have lived in London before moving to Spain. In actual conversation, A could also be correct. We lived in London for 5 years before moving to Spain. That is a perfectly correct thing to say. It's just saying a different thing. When you say we lived in London for 5 years, that's the important part. We had lived in London. It's important that you weren't there anymore. If you go on vacation and you're talking about a place you want to revisit, you had lived there. But if you're actually telling stories, oh, we lived in London for 5 years before we moved to Spain. It's when you're using that as the important part of the sentence that you will use a different grammar construction. It's correct to say either A or C, but the answer to the question is going to be C. Last grammar question. I know everyone's ready to be done with grammar. Grammar is fun to a certain extent, but it is just, you have to memorize it and then you have to go practice it. Practice, practice, practice. Third question, could you tell me where the station blank? And this is very hard for some of my viewers, and I understand. This is an indirect question. In English and in a lot of languages, the more language you use, the more polite it is, the more formal it sounds. If you come directly to the question and just say what you want to know, that might be too impolite. That might be too forward, we call it. And if you want it too much and you're too strong in asking for it, then it can seem like you're giving someone orders. And no one likes to be ordered, so we don't order each other around when we're speaking. So when we ask an indirect question, it's because we want to respect that they get to decide what they want to do. The third question is, could you tell me where the station blank? The three possible answers are A is, B is it, and C it is. This is an indirect question. An indirect question uses a stock phrase like, could you tell me? In a question, we will switch the subject and the verb. In an indirect question, we will switch them back. It then goes subject, verb. Where the station, subject, is. Could you tell me where the station is? Let's move on to vocabulary. I enjoy vocabulary. I hope you do too. Here we will also find keywords in the question that will tell us what the answer is. Let's look at the first vocabulary question. My brother is very blank. He always enjoys meeting new people. A, shy, B, friendly, and C, nervous. In the question, we see that the brother enjoys meeting new people. Enjoys meeting new people would be the key word or the key idea in this question. A, shy, B, friendly, nervous. Which one enjoys meeting new people? A nervous person might enjoy meeting new people. A shy person really doesn't enjoy meeting new people. And a friendly person really enjoys meeting new people. They like lots of friends. They want to know more friends. The answer is B, friendly. Vocabulary question 2. I didn't hear the phone because the music was too blank. A, loud, B, heavy, and C, bright. Here, phone and music are all words that have to do with sound. When we look at the answers, the possible answers, loud, heavy, and bright, Only loud has to do with sound, so the answer is A, loud. Vocabulary question 3. The boss gave us an important blank to finish by Friday. A, holiday, B, message, and C, task. The answer here could be any of these, I guess, but the best one is task, because a task is something you will finish. A boss might give you a holiday, and a boss might give you a message, and a boss gives you tasks. The key word here is finish. To finish a holiday, finish a message, finish a task. You do the thing until it's done, and then it's finished. So yes, the answer is C, task. Vocabulary question 4. It's a good idea to blank money for the future. The possible answers are save, keep, and spend. I think this is the hardest question because all three answers could be used about money. We save money, we keep money, we spend money. I hope you know what these words mean. Save money means to hold on to it, maybe put it into a bank where it will get bigger over time and you will put more in. Keep money might mean to hold on to it. And spend money is when you use it and it's gone, as we talked about before, spend money. The key word in the question would be future. So the answer is save. Can you spend money for the future? Sure you can. You can spend money now to get ready for the future, but the best answer here is save, because the meaning of save is about the future. Writing English is a very important skill. I have 50 years of experience writing English. Writing English on a test is another skill entirely. Let's look at this question and use the key words in the question that they gave us to give us phrases and words we can use in our answer. There are two parts to this question. The first is write 40 to 60 words about this topic. If they give you 40 to 60 words as a limit, now you know you have to write this many words. 40 words is not that many words. You can think of 40 words. It should take you 10 or 15 minutes. I think that if you know that you are going to take a B1 level English test, you should practice sitting and writing for 10 minutes, for 20 minutes, and try to hit 40 words, try to hit 50 words, try even to hit 100 words. Sit down, practice your writing. You know you're going to be tested on it. The first tip I have for every section of this test is practice. Practice reading, practice your grammar, practice your vocabulary, and now practice your writing. Let's get into the question and find the key words. Describe a place in your town or city that you like to visit. Explain why you enjoy going there and what you usually do. First important words are the first words of the sentence, describe and explain. They just mean write and tell us about something. The next part is describe a place in your town or city that you like to visit. So I want you to think of a place right now and say, I like to visit this place in my city. So I wrote the zoo. I used the words of the question, in my city, and I like to visit. I like to visit the zoo in my city. That's already 9 words. And if you think that in 50 years of writing English, I have stopped counting words every 10 words, I think everyone does that. If you know that you're supposed to write 40 words, you will write 10 words, and then you will count the 10 words, and then you'll write 6 more words, and then you'll count the 16 words. It's okay. We all do it. I like to visit the zoo in my city. The next part, it says, explain why you enjoy going there and what you usually do. I answered that question. Explain why you enjoy going there. I enjoy watching the animals. That's me explaining that. And then it asked me what you usually do. Well, that's the same thing. So I enjoy watching the animals. And now I can just think of a few animals and what they might do and fill in the rest of the words that they want. So I wrote sentences about animals. I said the monkeys play in the trees, turtles and fish swim in the water, 2 elephants pull on a tree branch. And then I finished it. I got the last of the 40 words by saying, I usually like to go in the afternoon, see the animals, and eat lunch. Now, I wrote this all in the present tense. If I were writing in my real life, it would all be in the past tense. The most important thing to remember when trying to write while you're taking a test is to hit the number of words that you're supposed to hit and show that you understand the question. Use words that you find in the question in your writing to show that you understand the question and to fill up the word count in the writing. That's some of my tips I have for taking a test. Taking tests in English is a great skill and it can really help you. It's also important that we practice our English, we practice our reading, we practice reading out loud, we practice our writing, we practice our grammar, we practice our vocabulary. It's important that we keep exercising the muscle of English. Learning for a test can help us get ahead in our jobs, can help us get ahead in our schools. Learning for a test can keep us engaged in English. I want to thank you for joining me here at English Language with Teacher Nick. Let me know what you want to see in videos in the future. Leave a comment, like the video, share it with a friend. Until next time, thank you so much for joining me here on English Language with Teacher Nick. I'm Teacher Nick. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.